All right. So, as we always conduct a webinar with this very special topic in every Wednesday, this time also we have come up with a very interesting topic related to the timber structure. Okay, so before getting started, I would just like to give you a very brief about this particular area, which is completely, like, I would not say completely, but partially untouched. Most of the parts are untouched in Indian subcontinent and other places, but it is widely used in US and those areas where there is a severe effect of snow or some other factors which are not available in Indian continents. So due to the climate, definitely timber structure is more beneficial over there than us. Also, there are certain other areas because of what we basically overlook this particular aspect in our country. As we all know that over here we are basically doing the structures related to RCC, steel, composite and all those areas. But the timber structure also we sometimes, like in few areas we use it, but not as a full-fledged structure completely made of timber has been used yet in India. So how this particular problem is basically, I would not say this as a problem. This is basically a different aspect that you need to investigate on as well for the Indian continents, because sometimes we might require to go for some lighter structure. And for, if you already know, all of you, that there are multiple options for the lighter structures in these days, right? So people are more interested into the very quick construction kind of a thing. Okay, so that also one of the aspect that we can include in the timber structure area. So we have made a small presentation for all of you where we have mentioned couple of areas of the timber structure, why it is overlooked at India, and what are the different aspect which has been used widely in US and other countries. Okay, so let me just allow to share my screen so that I can show you guys about the details of it, right? All right. So the screen is visible to everyone, I believe. Okay, so first as we have started with the session with the biggest, statement that is popular in abroad but overlooked in India. This is the timber structures. So first of all, the basic first thing first, timber as construction in material areas. If we talk about that, this particular material is basically a renewable resource in terms of the energy, if you talk about, whereas the concrete and those steels and all these areas are not as such renewable and very environmental friendly also, because whenever you will be engaging those kind of construction, there will be a lot of, like, not even lot of, sometimes, like currently green building clauses and other things has come up. So environmentally also, like the pollution and all these things has been reduced a lot, but still there are certain aspects where we are not being able to nullify that completely, environmental aspects, I would say. So which is completely not required in timber structures. It is environment friendly as well as the renewable areas. So natural aesthetics, it looks very well, that we all know that timber structures as a as a aesthetic, it looks really well in terms of architecture and other areas. It's flexible, it's natural. Okay, it's like insulation is there, very good insulation property is there in the timber. Easy to handle, reduced foundation requirements is like very less over here, sometimes even no. Okay, also, there are enhanced occupant satisfaction due to its natural appearance and warmth. Okay, so whomsoever will be, like, let's say, purchasing that particular structure or owning that particular structure, it will be very good for them. Like, they will be happy to stay over there or to use that particular space. So that's why it's very good feeling. As a feeling, if you talk about, it's a good feeling for them. Competitive pricing, faster construction, as I have already told you, it is lighter as well as the faster. Okay, high strength to weight ratio, which is also provides some resilience, and definitely it helps the local community also to grow more into the sector. Okay, All right. So next, slide says about the timber construction in abroad. As you can see, there are very, very few buildings that we have, shown in our slide. One is the Brook Commons Tallwoods House in Vancouver, US. So this building is completely made up of timber material. Okay, and this is one of the most tallest building in timber structures. So this is a very, very good. As you can see, the facade is also quite a, like it looks very nice, right? So it's very eye soothing also, and it looks very good, this particular structure. Thompson Exhibition Center, which is also made up of timber structures, though I feel by looking at it there are some concrete involved as well, but mostly it is being made up of timber structures. Residential building, this kind of building you will be able to see in all over the states, like United States of America. In California, if you go to the Vancouver, if you go any other cities, you will be getting a lot of timber structures which is like, prepared, which is there. Why they are basically widely using it? Because of, like, first and foremost criteria is snow. Okay, because they are having snowfalls over there, so concrete might not be very feasible for long term. So that's why timber structure is a very good option over there. Also, T3 Minneapolis office building is also, this is very, very, good looking building that they have created completely in timber structure. So there are different timber constructions that we can see over here. First is the light timber construction, which is also called stick framing. Okay, so these are like different description and applicability of the structural constructions. Heavy timber construction, and cross laminated timber, glued laminated timber. These are different types of, timber constructions, and what are the applicability that they offers, and what are the different description that is basically involved into these types that has been mentioned in this slide. So as you can see, there are, first we start with the light frame timber construction, where the small wooden members would be used, and it is basically used for the residential structures, whereas the heavy timber construction is used for the structural frameworks. Okay, so the large timber posts, beams are basically used over there. So these are basically the mid-rise or some little bit more than low-rise structures, like commercial buildings and, recreational facilities. Over those places, it is being often used. CLT is an engineered wood product made by gluing together layers of solids on lumber in alternating direction to create a strong panel. Okay, so this is basically for the high-rise structures. Okay, you can use this kind of cross laminated timber. Also, there is a glued laminated timber which is being used for the larger beams and columns, if like the concrete you are using shear walls and all this stuff. So for those kind of requirement, maybe glued laminated timber can be used. So this is, as you have rightly seen over here, that it is being frequently used in large span structures such as bridges, sports arenas, and auditoriums. Okay. Next is some different other top types of structures. Timber hybrid construction. This is also very, very important aspects that you can, get in. Combines the timber with the materials such as steel, concrete to leverage the strengths of each. Basically, these kind of structures you will see more in all the places. Why? Because whenever there are certain levels, they put it in concrete, and rest of the levels they put it in timber. So it's a combination of both. So which will be like good to see also as a aesthetic, as well as it is good for the reduction in cost also. It basically achieves the economy. Also, it gives a very, very good, I would say, the purposeful uses. Like for an example, if certain portion you want to make a residential and then a commercial or something else, some kind of recreational areas, or some auditoriums if you want to make at the top side, like mixed use kind of a structure, if you want to do this kind of construction, can be more helpful for you. Modular timber constructions are also there, which is prefabricated, like pre-engineered structures. We already know about the steel structure, which we are doing right now, PEB. So that's a sort of modular timber construction is also there, which is basically like, fabricated from somewhere else, and it is just erected at site. Okay, that way. Mass timber construction is also there, as we have already mentioned in the previous slides, which is basically dealing with multi-family homes and bigger, like little bit bigger structures, tall structures. We can use mass timber construction, which is there. Timber panel construction is also there, nail laminated timber, which is called also NLT. This is basically dealing with the different dimensional layers. Okay, as you can see that together timber panels are formed by nailing or screwing together layers of dimensional lumber to create a large and solid panel. Okay, this is probably used in office buildings where there will be multiple panels to be glued together. Okay, or it might be some screwing you can do. Okay, big screws over there, so you can screw that particular one panel to another and you can form a particular area. That way we can opt for office buildings. Why sometimes office buildings we may require to change, right, change the interior or something. So in that case also it will be helpful for us, not the exterior portion but the interior portion we can change if it is used with this. Next is why timber construction is not widely preferred in India. This is a very important topic that we are basically focusing on in today's webinar. So first of all, we would be basically telling you guys, sorry, we would be telling you guys the perception that we have with the concrete and steel is quite, different than any other areas. Why? Because it is like happening since so long, right? Preference of concrete and steel. It is a that it is already written over here also. It is having some historical patterns and historical usage only. Like if somebody think about some construction, it will be either in RCC or in steel. We can't even think of some bamboo structure or some this kind of wooden structure or something at this moment. So this is a prefabricated mindset that we already have in our mind, that it would be either in steel or in concrete. It would not be anything else. So that affects actually the economy as well as this sector to basically go with. So timber was mostly used for decorative purposes in India, as I have told you in the earlier also. It is mainly used for the interiors. Okay, so interiors we can use different kind of timber panels, timber structures, or timber formworks to show the interior shapes of the concrete structures. Okay, so when the concrete structure is done at any site, let's say building, if you talk about one building, once it is done you will be getting the floors only, right? You don't have any furniture or anything once you will get the flat. So that time we generally call for some interior designer and we'll ask them just do this that and all. So basic need of this interior design is wood or timber. Okay, so they do different kind of furniture, different kind of other things also with the timber structure. In even in temples, in other places, like some traditional homes, if you go to some areas of India, like in Kerala and those side, Pondicherry also, certain places, you will be seeing that some timber structures are there. Okay, which is like mostly the interior part and the decorative portions they have used with the timber structures. Yes, there is another very important point that I would like to mention over here is it is less fire resistant. Okay, and also some Indian tropical climate, which is basically these two are the major factor which is governing to this particular aspect, that it is not being used in the country, because our climate is full of humidity, right? It is having a huge humidity in the climate. So the timber would be like it would be not fresh enough and it would not be having its strength intact. Okay, so that's why we can't use timber structure in full fledged in our country with this climate. Okay, also the fire resistance is something which is like there, but with some modern techniques and design techniques also we can mitigate this, but to certain extent we cannot. Okay, we can mitigate only till certain extent, not after that. So, as I have already told, high quality timber suitable for construction often has to be imported. Okay, for different kind of from different other countries or some other portions. So that will definitely shoot up the cost of the project, which is also not advisable at our places. So conservation law for the forest, that is also very very important aspect in our country, to not go with this particular structural and arrangements. Okay, because we are not allowed to cut the trees and just do like, take the branches from there and do the timber blocks and use it. That kind of facilities, or I would say that kind of leverage is not there in our country. It is there in some abroad other countries. They probably have some licensing opportunity to do this, but in our country it is at this moment not possible. Okay, so there are different restrictions that we need to follow. So because of these few areas, it is not being used widely in our country. Now we need to think of something else, right? This is the high time that concrete and steel is like, we are almost done. That such a scenario is going on. So how to shift, that is the content of this particular slide, is basically saying the shift towards sustainable architecture and eco-friendly building materials is opening new opportunities for timber in India. So as you can see in the right hand side, there are few images that we have put some bamboo. We have used in this first image. This is kind of a tree house, right? So tree house is being made with the timber and different bamboos areas. So we can create different luxury villas, eco resorts, green building projects also with the help of this particular aspect, right? So sustainable green building projects, resorts, luxury villas, boutique hotels, luxury tree houses in Jaipur, interior and modular construction, educational and commercial buildings are also being used with the timber structures, which can be a new avenue or opportunity for our country. So there are some future prospect also. As you can see, the green building and all this stuff, advancement of the fire resistant, pest resistant treatments. Yes, pest control is also one of the things that you need to figure out how it can be done in timber structure, because what happens generally, there are multiple things in market, but none of them are working properly for the pest controlling. So you need to find out the certain very very rigid method through which we can resist the pest for the timber. Okay, so if the Indian government introduces policies or incentives to promote sustainable construction, it would be greater opportunity and adoption of the also in the coming years. So definitely, whomsoever are very fresh in this webinar currently, listening to me, I would be requesting all of you to engage yourself in all those research areas as well, along with your day-to-day activity. Who are the students in the BTech or MTech or diploma, whatever it is, you people can just burst of this particular areas. You have ample amount of time and efforts, so you channelize those efforts in this kind of R&D, and also you try to get some information that if Indian government is having some this kind of policies or not. It might not be always there on the web or something. It might be required to you need to research little bit on these areas. But if you can, if you can basically create certain environment like this, it would be definitely better for the society also. It would be definitely better for our domain as well as a civil engineer altogether. So this is the part of our part and parcel of our lifestyle only, the our profession, right? So that profession, if it's get uplifted, definitely we as an individual also will be uplifted. Okay, so we need to find out new avenues in case of IT or some other department also. If you have seen in last 10 to 12 years, it has gone from here to here. So every day they are evolving with new technology, chat GPT, AI, machine learning, all these areas are booming right now. And every day they are coming up with something new. So we in our domain also are supposed to do something new. I know that it is not like some other department. It is required certain sustainable opportunities. It is not like we will be preparing one house of made up of timber and we'll forget next day or something goes wrong after certain time. So that kind of 50-50 situation, we cannot be there. We have to be 100% assured with the things that we are doing. Okay, so that much responsibility is there with us. There is no bug fixing kind of a thing. We cannot fix these bugs if we can, if we somehow did some mistake or something. So make sure that you do proper well of research before getting into this, as a full-time area or something that you are looking for in future. Maybe this could be your revenue to start with. Okay. Okay, so next is one of the case studies, that few of the case studies that we have seen in India and US. So there is a comparison that we have done with the timber usage in construction, imported timber dependency, common timber species that has been used, cost of timber frame, house, strength to weight ratio, thermal insulation value, building height limitations, market growth for timber construction, building codes and regulations, adoption of engineered wood products, and also there is another point called average construction time for residential structures. So there is a comparison that we have done over here. You can have a look at the slide. I will not, take take your time to read it out. Just these are the few things that you can see, that how India is still little bit there in the back seat in this region, because US is far ahead to this sector, because they are, most of the residential buildings are now made up of timber. Okay, so definitely their usage are more, their channels are more, they are having more softwares, sorry, so they are more having more resources, and they are having more uh, different abilities to expedite this particular area in their places. But we are still struggling with few of the sectors where, like, as you can see, the import, we need to still import 70% of the timber needs from different countries, whereas in US it's just 18%. So with these values, you can easily imagine that how we are still still behind. So we need to go ahead, definitely, and definitely we have come up with a different code also, which was not there before. But still there are yet to get some dedicated national timber code, which is not there. Some limited guidelines are given in 883, 1994. Okay. S- Hmm. Okay, so next thing, average construction time also you can look for. It is 12 to 18 months in our country, whereas it's just 6 to 12 months in US. So there are different comparison which has been there on different topics with the timber structure, by keeping it in mind. So as you can see, adoption also are like, it requires like serious intervention of different areas. Maybe consultant also should come up, some kind of fresh graduates also should come up, some R&D, research and development, should happen properly in order to uplift this sector. So challenges and limitations that we are facing. India is high humid area, as we have already understood. Termite issues are definitely a big issue for the timber structures. Even in interior also, if you see in your house or anywhere, interior people are also struggling with these areas, termite issues. So they do some termite treatment or something, to reduce all these areas. Okay. So whereas in US it is, it is like quite a cold climate and less humid climate, so we can mitigate those areas. And definitely the pest control is also quite, lesser pest issues. Material availability, the importing facility is quite a bit high in India, whereas in US it is, availability is more over there. Skilled labor, this is also a very, very important aspect that we are facing basically in India, which is not there in US. It is like very well established labor market is there for timber construction and advanced machineries and tools and all, because their per day wages are also like quite high than our. So definitely their machineries and all these tools will be much advanced. So these areas wherever we are lagging behind, We need to seriously intervene in these areas, and we need to solve these issues in upcoming days. That is our intention to do. Okay, awareness and perception, this is also very very important area that I am mostly covering in all my throughout my presentation, that awareness and perception needs to be changed. Okay, and that can be changed with the young engineers only, like you people, right? Okay. So this is a comparison of timber construction parameters, India versus US. We have done it. As you can see, the red line is showing the US, sorry, the Indian construction or the cost of timbers, whereas the blue part is showing the US. Okay, so it is like nowhere. We are at the moment, at this moment, it is not comparable also. It's just a strip over here in our case, as you can see here. It's just a strip in our case, but whereas it is like a full curve in US's case, right? So this is US, okay, and this is our red part is like India, okay. So we need to basically change this. We need to put it here and put keep it here like that. So that is our job. By that time definitely US would be also much advanced, but let them do that. We'll be doing it separately by ourselves. We'll not be depending upon anyone. So this curve needs to be changed to like whole like this, okay. So that is our intention to do. So a radar chart that visually represents the comparison of timber construction parameters in India and US. So annual timber production is also quite high in US, whereas we don't have any resources in that region. Only the cost of timber, that is that portion we are basically doing some curve. Other than that, this portion is completely owned by US, right? All right. Next, it's basically so timber versus other construction parameters, right? So what are the different areas? Timber, steel, and concrete. This is the most interesting, comparison that we can think of. Material cost, foundation cost, of construction time, ease of construction, labor cost. All these places, timber is giving almost like it is far ahead by 90-95% than this. Okay, than this too. But still, we have to use this at this moment in our country because of some basic issues that we have followed in previous slides. So you can just read it out, these slides. Okay, like there are a lot of different areas that we need to solve. Okay, to get these benefits. Well, so we have come to the conclusion of the PPT. That is, while timber is embraced as a sustainable and modern material, in in many Western countries and regions with advanced building technologies, it remains a niche choice in India due to concerns over durability, fire safety, and cost. Definitely, it will be. In India, timber is more often used for interior decorations and specified high-end projects rather than primary structural purposes. So that was our premium project, one of the premium project that we can see that they have used certain portions as a timber, but still we are a long way to go to use it as a full-fledged construction material or a full-fledged construction as a choice in terms of timber. So that's all from our end today. In this particular webinar, we wanted to give you a boost or a motivation, I would say, so that you people can engage yourself with different government grants or something, some or the other way to the timber structure, so that the Indian subcontinents are also, gets enriched with the timber effects or the goodness of the timber structures. Yes, I know there are multiple challenges would be there. Climate challenges would be there, pest challenges would be there. These are very very non uncontrollable challenges would be there. Like extreme climate condition is one of them basically. to handle this kind of situation, but we need to do this. Okay, in future, maybe today or tomorrow, we have to do this, because steel and concrete would not be the solution for ultimatum in future. Okay, this kind of alternative resources we need to think of, maybe bamboo, maybe timber, something else like that. Like in cars also, if you talk about petrol, diesels are like lesser currently, right? It's gradually decreasing. It's very, very gradually it is decreasing. Then EV cars are coming, hydrogen cars are coming, different other resources are basically into the pipeline of research, so that we can get into those areas. So definitely like that only we need to involve, and we need to get involved, and we need to invest our time, effort, sometimes financial aspects also into this kind of alternative resources, so that we can use this as a full-fledged in our structural purpose. So that's all about the timber structure presentation. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining the session. We all wish you all the very best for your future. Have a good night. Bye bye.